Travel is the ultimate cure for your miserable, overly digitalized, soul-crushing existence. Your brain convinces you that if you just escape to some far-off, overpriced paradise, you'll shed your anxieties like dead skin. But dread just backs itself and sits smugly next to your sunscreen. Seriously though, travel has always been the pilgrimage for finding ourselves, or at least a decent Instagram shot. We're all dreamers when it comes to vacations. In our minds, we're Ernest Hemingway with a suitcase, or maybe just those people who magically find themselves after 2 days in Paris. But the truth? A taxi driver who's charging you 3 times the normal fare. Well, it's your fault for looking too excited, trying to spend your entire savings just to sweat in a foreign country. You book a cute little Airbnb that was supposed to have rustic charm. Turns out rustic is actually a code word for questionable plumbing and a mattress that feels like rocks. Day 1, you wake up to a rooster that has apparently never heard of sleep cycles, and the shower has 2 settings, hot lava or cold ice. Then comes the authentic local cuisine that looked magical on TripAdvisor but in reality leaves you googling nearest pharmacy by noon. You thought you'd be soaking in local culture, but you're soaking in Pepto-Bismol. Psychologically speaking, our brains are primed for disappointment. The rosy retrospection effect makes us romanticize travel and forget about the stuff that actually happens on the ground. Your brain plays a cute little trick where it turns last summer's nightmare camping trip into an adventure. It edits out the mosquito bites and tents collapsing at 2 a.m. Or maybe it's the part of your brain that romanticizes anything that it hasn't tried yet. Turns out our minds are expert con artists, convincing us that the next place, the next adventure will finally make us complete. Psychologists call this impact bias, the tendency to overestimate how much one experience will change us. Meanwhile, your brain chuckles in the background knowing full well you'll just return home with a dead sunburn and probably food poisoning. Essentially, your brain is a travel blogger with no ethics, constantly selling you on the idea that happiness lies somewhere just beyond passport control. And despite all the past disappointments, you keep falling for it, like a bad sequel to a romantic comedy. What else could embody the fevered yearning of a soul long trapped in the withering cycle of sameness, that has borne the weight of life's banalities with a cold endurance, now seized by the intoxicating promise of escape, of a rebirth among distant lands? Is it strange then that in such moments of imagined liberation, the spirit swells with irrational fervor, lavishly tender, even towards burdens it hoped to leave behind? This journey, this pilgrimage, is nothing less than the revelry of one who believes, if only for a breath, that meaning might yet be seized from the jaws of futility. For what is travel but the embrace of new horizons, veiled in a mystique they cannot keep, horizons upon which we cast our visions, our hopes, only to find, at last, that the scenery is changed but not the traveler. How absurd is this restless search, this hunger to shed the skin of oneself. We depart from the lands of our familiar constraints, believing we will shed our old limitations, yet find they are bound to us tighter than any physical tether. And so we roam, spiraling from one distant place to another, clinging to the futile notion that happiness, fulfillment, wholeness lies somewhere just beyond the fog of foreign shores. And yet we return. Oh, we always return. Travel is less about escaping your problems and more about confronting them. Psychologists like Carl Jung emphasize the importance of the journey within, suggesting that even the farthest destinations can only reveal what's already inside us. Maybe your real goal isn't to see new sights, but to see yourself differently in new places. French philosopher Albert Camus once said, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." We travel because we believe the warmth of that invincible summer is out there waiting, yet it's within us all along. So go, take that trip. Stand before those mountains and seas, but know that the journey you're really on is one of acceptance. The illusion of perfect travel isn't a mistake, it's an invitation. An invitation to love the chaos, to embrace the mishaps, and most importantly, to return with a little more of yourself. Don't fall for brain tricks and clever marketing. The real travel is the discovery within.